I sometimes feel like an alien creature for which there is no earthly explanation. Sure, I have human form, walking erect with opposing digits, but my mind is upside down. I feel like a run-on sentence in a punctuation-crazy world, and I see the world around me like a mad collective dream. An endless stream of people move like ants on the freeways, cell phones, PCs, and digital displays. In money we trust, we'll find happiness, the prevailing attitude. Like a genetically modified irradiated Big Mac is somehow symbolic of food. Morality is legislated, prisons overpopulated, religion is incorporated, the profit motive has permeated all activity. We pay our government to let us park on the street. And war is the biggest money maker of all. We all know Miscellany only comes from being small. Politicians and prostitutes are comfortable together. I wonder if they talk about the strange change in the weather. This government was founded by, of, and for the people, but everybody feels it like a giant open sore. They don't represent us anymore. And blaming the president for the country's woes is like yelling at a puppet for the way it sings. Who's the man behind the curtain pulling the strings? A billion people sitting watching their TV in the room that they call living. But as for me, I see living as loving. And since there is no loving room, I sit on the grass under a tree, dreaming of the way things used to be. Pre-industrial revolution. Which of course was before the rivers and oceans and skies were polluted, before Parkinson's and mad cows and all the convoluted cacophony of bad ideas like skyscrapers and tree paper and earth rapers like Monsanto and DuPont had their way, as they continue to today. This was pre-us. Back when the buffalo roamed and the Indian's home was the forest and God was nature and heaven was here and now. Can you imagine clean water, food, and air, living in community with animals and people who care? Do you dare to feel responsible for every dollar you lay down? You gonna make the rich man richer, or are you gonna stand your ground? You say you want a revolution, a communal evolution, to be a part of the solution? Maybe I'll be seeing you around.
You know, I love this idea of radical openness, the free exchange of information, the free flow of ideas, creating spaces in which ideas can have sex, as Matt Ridley talks about. And this is huge because it turns out that ideas are just as real as the neurons they inhabit, as James Gleick tells us. You know, a new kingdom rises above the biosphere. Denizens of this kingdom are ideas, because ideas have retained some of the properties of organisms, it turns out. They leap from brain to brain. They compete for the limited resources of our attention. They have infectivity. They have spreading power. They are what Richard Dawkins calls the new replicators, born from the primordial soup of human culture. Their vector of transmission is language and electronic communication. And though ideas are not made of nucleic acid, they have achieved more evolutionary change, and at a rate that leaves the old gene panting far behind. You know, Ray Kurzweil says our ability to create virtual models in our heads, combined with our modest-looking thumbs, was sufficient to usher in the secondary force of evolution called technology. And it will continue until the entire universe is at our fingertips. This is unbelievable stuff. It speaks to the telescoping nature of evolutionary change. More change in the last 100 years than in the last billion years. Terence McKenna actually wrote that from the moment that human beings invented language, biological evolution essentially ceased, and evolution became a cultural epigenetic phenomenon. Now, we take in matter of low organization, we put it through our mental filters, and we extrude it in the form of space shuttles and iPhones. You know, the Imaginary Foundation tells us that what imagination does is it allows us to conceive of delightful future possibilities, pick the most amazing one, and pull the present forward to meet it. You know, imagine how impoverished this world would have been if we hadn't invented the technology of the oil painting in time for Van Gogh, or the technology of the musical instrument in time for Beethoven and Mozart to unfurl through it. You know, with the revolutions in biotechnology, nanotechnology, the free exchange of information is allowing us to conceive of radical new things. Freeman Dyson says in the future, new generation of artists will be writing genomes with the fluency that Blake and Byron wrote verses. What is great in man, said Nietzsche, is that he is a bridge and not an end. You know, we're on a trajectory smack in the middle between the born and the made, wrote Kevin Kelly. And so radical openness, it's huge. It's a universe of possibility. It's gray infused by color. It's the invisible revealed. It's the mundane blown away by awe. We need to cultivate radical openness as a way of participating and accelerating evolution. Wow.
Did you know the average person spends 4 years of his life looking down at his cell phone? Kinda ironic, ain't it? How these touch screens can make us lose touch. But it's no wonder in a world filled with iMacs, iPads, and iPhones, so many eyes, so many selfies, not enough us's and we's. See, technology has made us more selfish and separate than ever. Cause while it claims to connect us, connection has gotten no better. And let me express first, Mr. Zuckerberg, not to be rude, but you should reclassify Facebook to what it is, an anti-social network. Cause while we may have big friend lists, so many of us are friendless all alone. Cause friendships are more broken than the screens on our very phones. We sit at home on our computers measuring self-worth by numbers of followers and likes. Ignoring those who actually love us, it seems we'd rather write an angry post and talk to someone who might actually hug us. Am I bugging? You tell me, cause I asked a friend the other day, let's meet up face to face. They said, alright, what time you wanna Skype? I responded with OMG, SRS, and then a bunch of SMHs and realized, what about me? Do I not have the patience to have conversation without abbreviation? This is the generation of media overstimulation. Chats have been reduced to snaps. The news is 140 characters. Videos are 6 seconds at high speed. And you wonder why ADD is on the rise faster than 4G LTE. But get a load of this. Studies show the attention span of the average adult today is 1 second lower than that of a goldfish. So if you're one of the few people or aquatic animals that have yet to click off or close this video, congratulations. Let me finish by saying you do have a choice, yes. But this one, my friends, we cannot autocorrect. We must do it ourselves. Take control or be controlled, make a decision. Me? No longer do I want to spoil a precious moment by recording it with a phone. I'm just gonna keep them. I don't want to take a picture of all my meals anymore. I'm just gonna eat them. I don't want the new app, the new software, or the new update. And if I want to post an old photo, who says I have to wait until Thursday? I'm so tired of performing in the pageantry of vanity and conforming to this accepted form of digital insanity. Call me crazy, but I imagine a world where we smile when we have low batteries. Cause that'll mean we'll be one bar closer to humanity.
So here I am, standing alone in the open. I'm here with a message, hoping to repair what's broken. Nature is struggling, humanity's not on track. We've got our heads in the sand and our pride intact. We seek fulfillment through wealth, but do we achieve it? We want prosperity through consumerism, but is it worth it? Have we actually found freedom, or have we lost it? Because all we do is follow a system and never really challenge it. Can you relate to that? Or is the world too blind to see? I'd always seek the truth, but care what my peers thought of me. I saw a different perspective and struggled by the hour. You see, I knew ignorance was bliss, but knowledge could give me power. So now I call for humanity, not just for one nation. I'm opposing separation and standing up to segregation. Whether religious or atheist, in essence we're the same. Stereotypes are man-made and it was man who created the game. But are we actually ready to accept this and wake up? Can we put our naivety on the line, or are we always going to collide? Are we ready to make a difference? Do we venture into the unknown, or do we stay in our comfort zones and keep on taking the easy ride? Because at sea, it's ships that are safest at shore. But no, that's not what ships were made for. So ask yourself this, why are you really here? You may find that deep, but my question really is sincere. For my generation, are we misled as a youth? Do we rub off our true purpose due to false misleading truth? Are we prone to propaganda? Are we prone to wrong information? Are we taught to judge each other based on religion, sex, race, culture, class, nation? The list goes on. The moral of this poem may be hard to grasp. I know it's not something usually heard and it's not your average task. But the point is to stop damaging what we cannot recreate. We shouldn't prioritise selfish desires and let them decide our fate. However, let me tell you, in no way am I perfect and in no way am I better than you. I mean, yeah, I wrote this message myself, but it applies to myself too. So it's time to start improving and it's time to start speaking, because resources are lowering and poverty is increasing. We allow cities to get larger, buildings to get taller, but trees to get shorter and forests to get smaller. We're an ingenious species. We could easily change everything, but we're made to think different due to decades of conditioning. We conform to education to confirm our own security, yet it's a biased institution that makes wisdom hold obscurity. Is it actually correct? And does it actually judge intelligence? Or is it just listening to our elders and improving our obedience? Are possessions an illusion of worth? Are we tricked in our thinking? Are we trying to buy wholeness and are we trying to buy meaning? Do they always give joy? Do they distract us from reality? Do they determine our identity and do they alter our morality? I mean, what are our goals? This really isn't a joke. Can happiness be superficial and our routine a hoax? Do we live for the wrong things whilst the right things choke? Is mainstream TV legit or can it dictate our attractions? Does it actually bring us together or does it separate us into factions? We categorize each other via a social hierarchy, but status is made by humans, so who really are we? Is ego destroying eco? Are the real problems disguised? Do we really know the truth or does our society feed us lies? Are we actually filling our voids and does money hold any true weight? Could we drop our precious comforts to renew our planet's state? It really is time to stop living our lives in shells, because doing nothing for others is the undoing of ourselves. We're all from the same source, so let's see it for what it's worth. We only have one home, and that home is planet Earth. So are our laws actually just, or can power avoid the prison? Are our governments really innocent, or are they flawed in their decisions? Do they actually care for all life, or only for their own health? Do their motives come from morals, or do they just want power and wealth? They try to justify a war on terror, but it's lasted for over a decade. It's caused 1 million deaths, so don't you think they've overstayed? Is patriotism necessary? Can't we see it's prejudicial? Have we forgotten our common grounds and have we forgotten what's artificial? I mean, am I truthfully British? Am I really European? Am I actually a Western person or am I just a human being? See, the media highlight the smallest of tragedies in first world countries, but fail to cover that over 90 million worldwide have died from hunger in 12 years. So where do our priorities lie? Britain, China, Russia, America, France, Syria, Iran, Israel, Jordan, Iraq. Whether Western or Middle East, everyone deserves peace. No more national wars, no more bodies deceased. Let's come together as one and keep humanity in one piece. So are we going to be responsible? Are we going to take a stand? Are we going to change our ways and play our cards on the other hand? I'm not saying I have all the answers and I'm not forcing any suggestions. I'm just saying it's about time we see things differently and it's about time we ask some questions. So what will you do? How much will you allow? This is my call for humanity to create a change, and the time to start is now.